Welcome to the show. It's the franchise again. The D Train over here. Daniel Ehrenberg hosting the show as per usual. Logan's over there in Alabama in his car. I think he's cold. He's been complaining. He was late. You know, what are you gonna do? He peed. I bet he's gonna pee again before the episode's over. But listen, the important news is that we're still knee deep in Rambo. We are talking about this great veteran of the Vietnam War and all his wonderful and conflicting ideals about living life as an American on this stage that we call Earth, you know? All right, so let's bring in Logan.
I'll be honest.
Go for it.
I thought we were talking about WrestleMania today. I'm not prepared at all for this.
Did you watch WrestleMania?
I watched the highlights. No, I didn't watch it.
God damn. What a show this year. WrestleMania. Night 1 was fantastic. Night 2, less so. Maybe they should just do one night like they used to. Hey, Bianca Belair, she's the women's champ, beat Becky Lynch. Congrats to her, gang. And
why did you feel that way? Did you not like the Johnny Knoxville match or Pat McAfee?
That was the best one, the Johnny Knoxville. But like, if Johnny Knoxville is your best match at WrestleMania, I don't know what to tell you.
You didn't like Lesnar?
No, Roman got injured like 3 minutes into the match, and they had to end it fast.
Did you like the stunner on Vince?
Well, yeah, that was the night before.
Oh, that was that one.
That was great. Yeah, Stone Cold came back, and he beat up Kevin and Owens and Vince. And what else happened? What were some of the other great events?
Wee Man showed up. That made me happy.
Yeah, he press slammed Sami Zayn, I believe.
I wanted him to fight Hornswoggle, but I didn't see Hornswoggle the whole night.
Sadly, Swoggle no longer signed to the WWE.
Oh. Cody Rhodes showed up.
Yo, that was the other great match. Yeah, Cody showed up. He's signed to WWE now. He beat up what's his face? Seth Rollins. Oh, yeah. I felt adrenaline in my soul. Okay.
No, I know we're not talking about WrestleMania. We're here
Rambo
to talk.
Man. Yeah.
Morbius is sweeping the nation. We're talking about Morbius. I can't wait.
I did not see Morbius, but I certainly will. He's the living vampire.
Is that what he is?
Yeah, that's what Marvel used to call him, the living vampire, as opposed to all the dead vampires. I don't know what the difference is. Like, because I assume what they're trying to say is that vampires, they're dead, right? Like, when you become a vampire, your heart doesn't beat anymore, so you're a dead guy. Right?
But aren't we living vampires?
So they're like the undead vampires. What do you mean we're living vampires?
Well, then we die, then we become normal vampires, because that after they die, then they're actual vampires.
You're only a vampire when you're living, if you're one of these Twilight kids who thinks they're a fucking vampire and start drinking their own blood and shit.
But aren't all vampires living?
No, here's my theory. Logan, vampires are undead. All right? They're dead. But they're still living. Walking around. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're dead, but they're living. They're undead. So, but Morbius, if you call him the living vampire, how is he any more living than the other vampires? He's also walking around.
I see what you're saying. I mean, so it's pretty stupid and redundant.
If Morbius is the living vampire, then all vampires are living.
Right, so what makes him so special?
This is a snake eating its own tail, this guy.
What is he, a doctor? What is this guy?
Yeah, he's Dr. Michael Morbius, of course.
So stupid. What kind of doctor?
A vampirism, I assume.
Okay. What kind of doctor? Also, Stephen Strange was a hand What did he do?
Yeah, he was a surgeon. But I mean, most of these doctors, they were like nuclear scientists, you know, because they had to have some sort of accident go wrong in the lab. Yeah, he was. Victor Von Doom. Reed Richards was,
He should be Dictor Don Doom instead of Victor Von Doom.
Well, you know, maybe in the Ultimate Universe. Actually, in the Ultimate Universe, they thought it was stupid, so they changed it to Victor Van Dam.
That's even stupider, kind of. Was that after Rob Van Dam was a thing?
First of all, it was after Jean-Claude Van Damme was the thing.
Rob Van Dam. Well, here's the thing
Rob
too.
Van Dam,
He's more
for God's
important.
sake.
Rob Van Dam's more
Yeah.
important. No
Hey,
appearance from
listen.
Rob Van Dam.
Greatest frog splash you've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Hornswoggle, the tadpole splash, I prefer.
Good Lord. All right. Let's talk Rambo. We got Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3 on the docket for today. Sly Stallone, he's back.
Yeah, killing it.
Killing lots of people. So 83, that's when First Blood came out. We talked about it last week. We both enjoyed the film.
82, I thought.
I believe you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. October 82. You're right. And it was a hit. It was the number 13 movie of the year. So they put together another one. And boy, oh boy, this was the one. This might have been Stallone's biggest hit of the 80s.
Really?
Yeah.
What else did he have?
Well, all those Rockies and Rambos.
Cobra.
Yeah, but I mean, the big hits were all Rockies and Rambos. I mean, Cobra, Over the Top. I love those movies, but they're not standing up next to his franchises.
Right. All right, that's fair.
All right, so here's what happened. They needed to come up with a sequel. All right, but what do you do? What do you do? They had a novel to work off of for the first one. What now? All right, so they found a spec script that had been floating around Hollywood that was written by this fellow named Kevin Jarre, who's like a struggling screenwriter. And Kevin Jarre basically figured, well, that Rambo movie was a huge hit. They're probably going to need to make a sequel.
Yeah, genius.
So he came up with a sequel. Now, studios aren't usually allowed to buy spec scripts, and certainly not today. That's a rule that is hard and fast now. If you submit a spec script, no one's going to fucking look at it because nobody wants anything original. So they looked at this Kevin Jarre spec script, though, and they were like, yeah, that's got the bones. So they didn't use the script, but they used the story of it, and they gave him a story credit. All right?
All right.
Now, that dude went on to be like a pretty good screenwriter. He went on to write The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. How about that?
Oh, that's exciting. Only the first one?
Yeah, just that first one.
Okay.
So Stallone hires James Cameron to turn that initial idea into a screenplay. James Cameron was coming off of The Terminator, which he had done the previous year, and he was already commencing work on Aliens. All right? So this was like the last possible moment you could hire James Cameron to write a non-James Cameron
For real?
movie. Yeah.
I didn't know about this. I had no idea, by the way.
Yeah. Pretty much after this, it was like Aliens came out. You know, it launched him into the stratosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could do whatever he wanted. And I guess what he wanted was making a boring underwater movie, and then a Terminator sequel, and then a spy movie, and then another boring underwater movie.
What do you think about that spy movie?
It's fun. It's a little misogynistic.
Yeah, but it's really fun.
It's really fun, yeah.
Yeah.
You know who I love in that movie? Tom Arnold. I'll watch Tom
Yeah, sure.
Arnold in that movie all day.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamie Lee.
Well, yeah. That one scene anyway. So
Bill Paxton's good too.
he's always good. Cameron is one of the, I don't give Cameron a lot of compliments, but he was one of the only directors that could harness the full talents of Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
He did it in Aliens and again in True Lies, and then he failed to do it in that stupid fucking framing device story in Titanic. But what are you going to do?
He's in Terminator for a second.
Is he?
Yeah,
about
he
that.
is killed by the Terminator. What do you think about Titanic? That's the big one.
I think it's, I'm hot and cold on it. It's got some really spectacular stuff, but the love story's fucking not good, obviously, and the special effects don't hold up.
I fucking love that movie. I will always love that movie. Is that a Leo thing for you, or you just don't like it?
I mean, it's part of it for sure. Yeah, I mean, James Cameron is like a bombastic director who cares about like visual and scope at the expense of character and story, and so I don't really like him that much. And then you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, this like really measured sort of thinky actor who like never gets into a performance enough for me to look past the acting of it. And so I fucking the movie sucks. Like I watch it and I'm just like, yeah, Kate Winslet's great.
No, when they're like swinging the axe, there's nothing more
Kate
exhilarating.
Winslet's great. Some of the fucking action's cool. The score is James Horner is interesting. What are you gonna do?
Whatever.
I like
and we'll talk about Avatar later this year.
The Last Airbender.
No.
I heard there's a lot of water stuff in this new Avatar.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That excites me. We'll get a
Water
guest on it for
bending.
this new Avatar.
Who?
You know a guy T-Dub.
I'm not. No, we're not.
No,
I'm
we
not
don't,
doing
we don't
that.
have to. We don't have to.
Okay.
He's the biggest Avatar fan in the world.
Yeah, I know that. I'm not doing that. He's not actually funny. He's just a joke on the internet. So guys, so Cameron basically came in there and wrote the first draft. Most of the action ended up being his, but the script is fairly different. It has a different beginning where Sylvester Stallone is actually in a mental hospital. It's pretty much the beginning of Terminator 2, but Rambo.
So
I think he repurposed it.
So where is he at the beginning? At a prison, right? So
Yeah,
instead
remember
of a
at the
prison,
beginning of T2, Linda Hamilton's in like a mental hospital and she has like a hearing with the board and then she jumps across the desk and grabs somebody. Yeah, I think that was originally in this movie. And then Stallone didn't want it, so he was like, fuck it, I'll put it in a better movie.
All right.
And they also originally had a tech sidekick. Like Rambo went into Vietnam with a computer whiz who could make some jokes.
Yeah, that's awful.
And but they wanted John Travolta for the part.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. I was sold by that. Imagine Travolta just wandering around the desert. Like Stallone's covered, not the desert, the jungle. Stallone's covered in like mud at one point. Can you imagine like Travolta next to him covered in mud and his little laptop's covered in mud as well?
Yeah, that would have been great. What's the size difference between Stallone and Travolta?
I would say Travolta's probably a foot taller than Stallone, and Stallone is probably like double the width of Travolta.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that would work. What about a John Hawkes as like the nerdy sidekick? Is he
1985 John Hawkes? No, I don't think that would have worked. I think he was probably in elementary school at this point.
Elementary school? There's no way that's true. But I feel like he would be good in a Rambo movie as a sidekick.
Why do you have John Hawkes on the brain?
I don't know. I was thinking of he would look good next to Stallone.
I mean, John Hawkes looks good next to anybody. He was Timothy Oliphant's sidekick in Deadwood, one of the manliest men in the world, of course.
Yeah.
John Hawkes, 1959, by the way, he was born. And
yeah, so come on.
Started acting in 1984, apparently.
Oh,
so
this could have been his breakthrough.
Could have been his first role. Yeah. Hey, did you know that John Hawkes' name is John Perkins, but there was already an actor in the Screen Actors Guild named that, so he had to change his name.
I did not know that. I don't even know the original John Perkins.
Well, nobody does, but it's like how there was a Michael Fox, and so he had to add the J.
You're right.
Yeah.
Is that why Michael B. Jordan is Michael B. Jordan? Does Michael Jordan count?
yeah, he's in the SAG.
He was in Space
Jam.
Is that why? Truly, is that why?
I doubt it. I mean, possibly.
That would be crazy.
All right, so Cameron, he also called the movie First Blood 2: The Mission.
Ooh.
Yeah, but see, Stallone already had in his head, he's got Rocky, right? They've already made 3 Rockies.
Oh, that's what he's doing.
They're working on a 4th. He's like, that gets by because I'm the guy, right? It's called Rocky. It's called basically everyone's going to see Me 3, right? Me 3. So now it's Rambo. So he called it First Blood. I see he's trying to wean people off that title. Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3. Fuck it with that First Blood.
I think it's the right move. It is like
I disagree.
It is conceited, but I think it is the right call.
It is conceded.
You think they get to 2019 Rambo if they stuck with First Blood 3, First Blood 4?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I do. I just think it's Stallone, man. I mean, do you think like this movie wouldn't have made the same amount of money if it was called First Blood 2: The Mission?
Yes, probably.
Interesting. All right, that's a theory.
I mean, the one of them is called Rambo, and I feel like that's the one that I know. Like,
yeah, because that's the one that came out when you were like starting to pay attention to movies.
that's also true. That's also true. I don't know.
Yeah, that's also true. Logan, so Stallone takes the reins of the screenplay after Cameron, and he writes a bunch of screenplays. Like he writes like 7 drafts of it after the one Cameron draft. So Cameron sort of like shits on this movie sometimes in interviews because Stallone did most of it. But I mean, Cameron wrote the action and the story.
Who wrote the part where Stallone got to kiss the lady?
Probably Stallone.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there was a love interest in Cameron's movies.
I'm sure there was.
Cameron weirdly has very, very little interest in love except for Titanic. I feel like that's the only
Really?
James Cameron movie with like a love story in it.
I mean, Terminator, they fuck in that movie.
Yeah, everyone remembers the beautiful love story between that killer robot.
Do you not think about that when you think of Terminator?
No,
like the sex scene is what I think about when I think of Terminator.
Yeah, you
Really?
think about sex. You don't think about love because James Cameron doesn't write characters that you can really like sit down and care about.
You don't think they love each other in True Lies?
It's a comedy though. It's like Get Smart or some shit.
All right. There's not love going on when the tail is being inserted inside of her.
Oh my god. Stop it with that.
I don't know. That may be reversed. I don't remember it exactly.
Yeah, I think it is reversed actually.
It's actually like her hair. Is it even a tail? I don't remember. We'll get there.
Their hair goes into a socket of some kind, I think.
Right. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Speaking of socket, Triple H introduced WrestleMania.
And he left his boots in the ring, and I cried like a baby.
Okay,
I'm gonna miss him.
All right, well, I mean, he's been gone for like many years at this point.
I know, but it's just like the knowing.
I understand. Great film with Nicolas Cage. Knowing. So we get a new director for this film, George P. Cosmatos.
Sure.
All right. And I have never seen anything he made before this movie. He'd been around for a little while. But what I can report is I have seen every single movie he made in his career from this movie on. And every single one of them is a banger.
Wow. Which one? Is this the best one?
No.
Cobra?
Cobra, baby.
What else did he have?
So he follows this up with Cobra, a Sylvester Stallone screenplay, an incredible film about Stallone as, you know, the coolest cop of all time, Cobretti, fighting a serial killer with a giant knife. Okay?
All right.
A great film. He follows that up with Leviathan, which is an underwater monster movie that is better than The Abyss, in my opinion.
All right.
All right. He follows that up with Tombstone, the incredible Western with Val Kilmer. That's a legitimately great movie. And by the way, that connected him again with that dude, Kevin Jarre, the mummy guy who wrote the original Rambo's story. He wrote Tombstone and was the director on Tombstone, and he got fired like a month into filming, and George P. Cosmatos took over for him. George P. Cosmatos is just always taking over that dude's work.
Only as director, though, they kept the screenplay?
Yeah, they kept the screenplay.
All right, good for him.
For the most part, I think Val Kilmer did some work on it or some bullshit.
All right.
And then, so screenplay credited to Stallone and Cameron. This movie came out May 22nd, 1985, Memorial Day weekend. A budget of $25.5 million, and it made $300.4 million at the box office. It is the number 2 movie of 1985. You know what number 3 is, Logan?
The Breakfast Club?
No, Rocky IV. Stallone is the biggest star in the fucking world in 1985.
Yeah. He's done it. He's done it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he's number one. Although number one is Back to the Future.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I didn't guess it for number 3.
Good job.
Thanks.
So, oh, it's nominated for some awards. I guess we should talk about those.
Yeah.
This is actually the only Rambo that's nominated for an Oscar.
Oscars, it's the red carpet, it's the red carpet and the gowns and the tuxes. The Oscars, it's the big night for Hollywood, the red carpet and the golden man.
Sound editing.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, it lost to Back to the Future, not a war movie, interestingly enough.
No.
Yeah. And the other awards voting body that truly saw Rambo First Blood Part 2 is the Golden Raspberries.
It's the raspberries, no razzmatazz. Well, all we're lacking is a little pizzazz, 'cause it's the golden raspberries. It's the worst of the worst, not the best of the best. It's pizzazz gone raz.
That's the razzmatazz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we should do that for the Patreon.
What?
Remember, I had a show with Henry we only did once called The Razzmatazz, where we talk about Golden Raspberry winners.
Yeah, you think we should do that? Was that not the same as Award Bros, basically?
No, because we talked about this movie, Savage Streets. We watched a movie for that.
Oh, you watched one movie that won the worst movie of the year?
Yeah.
Okay. You think we should do that?
Maybe. It's not a bad idea.
What year? Pick
All right.
a year.
I don't know. Fucking let me think about it.
All right.
Anyway, the Razzies. This one worst picture of the year, okay? I'm just going to tell you right now.
That's insane.
I agree, it's insane.
That is so stupid.
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone won worst actor
What?
for both this and Rocky IV.
Wow.
Yeah. It won worst screenplay, Sylvester. Okay.
Why?
Worst-
Why did they do this to him?
Because they hate Stallone. Here's the thing with the Razzies. They always hate what's popular. All right? And Stallone's the popular thing. If you look at the other nominees for this year, it's horrible movies, unwatchable, forgotten movies, But they gave it to this because it was so huge. They can't give it to Back to the Future because that's good.
Okay. That upset. That's not cool. Very undeserved.
It upsets me too. And frankly, also nominated and winning for worst song.
I don't even remember.
Well, Logan, if I can just locate the song. I can't find it. It's Frank Stallone.
Sure.
Was Sylvester's wonderful brother.
Why'd you say was?
I don't
Did he die?
No, he's still a great brother of Frank. I'm just talking about the time in their lives they were the biggest,
Gotcha.
And so Frank, he would show up in Sylvester movies. He's in a barbershop quartet on the side of the road in Rocky. All right.
Okay.
Then Sylvester Stallone, let's not forget, he directed but did not star in Staying Alive, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. And he got his brother Frank Stallone to write all the music. Bee Gees in the original, Frank Stallone in the sequel.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So now, Rambo 2, we got to get Frank in there for a beautiful ballad that we'll listen to right after this State Farm ad. All right? You'll be loving this.
What athlete is in that
I didn't notice. All right, here it is. Oh, we get a little bit of the song, the movie.
I'm coming to get you.
I always hated that line reading. I'm coming to get you.
one? Oh, really? I was into
Just
it.
say, I'm coming to get you.
No, he had to. No, we'll talk about it.
I'm coming to get you. All right, here's Frank.
We give it all. Flame in the fire. Burns forevermore.
This plays at the end of Rambo First Blood Part 2 after he's murdered upwards of 300 men.
That's not true. I kind of like it.
It's great. No, I'm a big fan.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. I mean, the fucking Republicans. Listen to me, hear me out, okay? The Republicans in this country, they're constantly coming out to rallies to songs by like Neil Young and Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel and shit. And then like those guys all sue them or whatever because they didn't have permission and the artists are liberal and they didn't give their permission for some fucking fascist to use their song. All right. So why don't they just use some of these classic patriotic songs from slightly more conservative artists? I know that Peace in Our Life by Frank Stallone is not going to give you the same pop that Born in the USA does, all right? But save yourself some legal fees and give Frank the cred he deserves.
Is Sly a Republican?
They're both pretty Republican.
Are they Trump people?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Of course. I mean, they're rich. They've both been really rich for a really long time.
I mean, so is Arnold. You think Arnold voted for? I mean,
Arnold's a Republican, Logan. Arnold hates Trump and has a feud with Trump, so he didn't vote for Trump.
Good for Arnold.
But Arnold definitely voted for Bush twice.
What did you do? Did you vote?
Well, yeah, I voted. Well, the first one I was in high school, so I couldn't vote. And then the second one I was in college, and I voted for Jonathan Kerry.
Hell yeah.
You know, he was a flip-flopper, but I liked him.
Yeah. He was a flip-flopper at the time when you voted for him.
Yeah, that's what he was known for.
Oh, you're like, I like this guy.
That was the Republicans' big effort against John Kerry in that election. Like it
was like his emails.
Politics now are like, yeah, she runs a satanic cabal of like pedophiles in a pizza basement. Like that's what they go after people for. Back then it was like he's a flip-flopper. He voted this way once.
What a sellout.
And then years later voted a different way. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right. Is that it? Oh no, Razzies. There's even more. Julia Nixon was nominated for the worst supporting actress of the year.
Come on.
And she lost to Brigitte Nielsen, Sylvester Stallone's wife, for Rocky IV.
Who's worse?
Julia Nixon.
Wow.
Yeah.
You think
Can
she's
I just
bad?
say, yeah, I thought she was really bad. And I didn't remember that. Like I knew there was a love interest in this movie and that she like dies tragically. But I mean, as a kid, like I guess I didn't notice. Like I just thought it was like some attractive lady, you know? But now like she can't act at all.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Is she doing her real voice, or did they say you have to like?
No.
No, to which part?
She talks in broken English. No, this is a woman who grew up in America.
Okay.
Or like, no, I think she grew up in the UK, I read. Like she was born in Singapore and grew up in the UK. She's just like a normal aspiring actress. Like she's just a young actress. But they've asked her to deliver all her lines in this like horrible broken English. So it's literally like, Rambo, you take home me?
I always think about roles like this when they're, what's her name again?
Julia Nixon.
Nixon.
By the way, Cynthia Nixon. She later changed her name to Julia Nixon Soul because she married David Soul from Starsky and Hutch. Played Hutch.
Oh, okay. I always think about these roles where she like walks in, she's like, hey everybody, my name is Julia Nixon. I'll be reading for the role of Co. And then she starts having to read like the dialogue like that.
Yeah. I'll be reading for the role of Co. Okay, whenever you're ready. What mean expendable?
I didn't want to do it, but I knew you would. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cringe, man.
Right. They literally say expendable.
Yeah, well, I think that's where he got the Expendables.
It
Like
must
he's got a whole monologue in this movie where he goes, "To survive a war, you gotta become war." And right away, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I understand how Sylvester Stallone wrote that down on a piece of paper and was like, that sounds deep. But it's not. It's so stupid. But and then after that, he starts saying like, yeah, I'm expendable. That's who we are. The people we send in there. He goes like, it's like when you're invited to a party and you don't, and nobody really needs you there. You're like not forgotten.
Yeah,
if
that
you don't
was
show
sad.
up. You're expendable. That's like us going to war.
Yeah. How many of those are there?
Many Expendables.
Yeah.
3 of them.
Are those his? Did he write those also?
Yep.
Wow, look at Stallone. What a freaking genius this guy is.
Yeah, he's an artist. He really is.
Yeah, really.
You know, I make fun of a lot of actor, writers, and directors, but I mean, Stallone's been doing it consistently since the late 70s. So, like, you got to give it to him. He's done this as much as he's done acting.
Yeah, it is impressive. Even if he does have to like kiss the woman in all his movies, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and he never gets injured, and he's got the biggest dick in the world.
Is that true? We see his dick.
No, I have no idea. George, I assume he's got a very tiny dick because of all the steroids he's taking.
Don't assume.
How about Rambo 3? The difference between Stallone and Rambo 2. Like, it's so funny. Like, in First Blood, he looks like a normal person, right?
Not really.
He just looks like a built dude. And then in Rambo First Blood Part 2, you look at him and it's like, wow, he's transformed his body. Like, he's clearly done a lot of work.
Right.
And then by the third movie, you're just like, he is so shot up.
It is 3 years later. That's a long time.
It's not that long a time. I mean, it's 3 years later, and he's double the size he is in the last one. He looks puffy. He looks like if you like touch his skin, it's gonna rip or something. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, a little
but,
much.
I also don't want to rip on him too hard because it's not that different from what actors are doing today. All these fucking Marvel actors that show up like huge, like Kumail Nanjiani and bullshit. Like, yes, they are working out with professional trainers and stuff, but they're also taking human growth hormone. Okay?
What about Chris Pratt? You feel that way about Chris Pratt?
Yeah, he took human growth hormone. Absolutely. And all it is like a more acceptable steroid.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Kumail got his prescribed by the movie studio, whereas Stallone had to buy his from some shady figure at a gym somewhere.
Yeah, so good for you, Stallone.
Yeah, so good for you, Stallone. I hope your dick works. So George P. Cosmatos was nominated for Worst Director, and he lost. You want to guess to who?
I would have no idea.
To Sylvester Stallone for directing Rocky IV.
Oh my God, they really hate him.
I know. And Nixon was nominated for Worst New Star as well, but she lost again to Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah.
Whew, boy. All right, let's talk about the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so it opens with Rambo. He's still in prison from the previous film, you know?
Yeah.
He ran riot in that small town, injured a lot of police officers and National Guardsmen, and they had to fish all those dead dogs out of the woods.
Jeez, very sad.
Yeah, it was pretty harsh. So they sent him away to like a work camp in America, and he's working on like a rock quarry.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So then Napier. No, not Napier. What's it? The fella from the first one?
Troutman?
Richard Crenna as Troutman. Yeah. He shows up and he basically tells Rambo, listen, you're needed. Okay? And Rambo's like, I'm done. I'm retired. I'm expendable. I'm here. I use a pitch axe on rocks for a living. You leave me alone. And Troutman's like, no, seriously, bro. And he lays out the situation. You were in Nam, right, Rambo? You know I was in Nam. It's the toughest time in my life. All right. Then there were prisoners of war at the end of Nam. Okay,
Yeah.
thousands of them. All right, and we believe that they're still there. It's such a crazy concept for a movie. I don't know how much truth there is to this. I'm sure there were some prisoners of war, but they act like all the prisoners of war that were there at the end of Vietnam are just still being held in camps in Vietnam.
Well, I
I'm
think
pretty sure like Vietnam's been done with this war for like over a decade.
I think the guy
it's like,
lying.
It's like I feel like it's like 9/11, 2011, going back and being like, we're gonna find all the missing people from under the rubble of 9/11.
Right, but I think it is. I think it's all a setup, right? I think the guy thinks that there's nobody there, but then there ends up being people.
But
there.
that's bullshit. They find.
I think that's what they say.
Oh,
I think
you
that's
think that he's just sending Rambo in to be killed?
I think that there's supposed to be nobody there, but then there is actually people there. It's just like a setup to get Rambo killed.
Wow, I didn't even think about that, but you might be right. I mean,
I think that's the guy's goal.
Why'd they even send the helicopter to pick Rambo up? Because there's that moment the helicopter sees Rambo, they make eye contact, and the helicopter's being driven by a great actor. Who is it?
I didn't notice.
It was it's Martin Kove from The Karate Kid.
Oh, I never seen those.
But listen, he's on fucking Cobra Kai now. He's like a big deal. Martin fucking Kove, bro. He was recently on AEW. They used him. He was like training one of the female wrestlers how to be a karate master. Because he's the head of the Cobra Kai dojo.
Okay, good for him.
All right, so anyway, he was flying this helicopter. And
yeah, I didn't get that. I think it's just like to keep Troutman happy for a little bit longer.
Oh,
but
maybe.
Then they just trick him and bring him back. I didn't really understand that either.
Yeah, Troutman's sort of a company man in this movie, and they're trying to like use him to like get Rambo involved. But the real villain.
But why would they even want Rambo dead?
Well, I don't know about that. Why didn't they just put him to death? You know, I don't understand.
It was so bad that he has to die anyway.
Well, I mean, if they want to kill him for what he did in the small town with Brian Dennehy, that's fine. But like, I mean, it's not fine. But I mean, if that's what they want, fine. But I just don't understand why they need to go through all the trouble of sending him to Vietnam.
I think Rambo was the victim in that first movie. Rambo was like, everything was in self-defense, I thought.
You know what? He took it to another level, though. He could have listened to those cops and just like, if he didn't have that bout of PTSD in the police station and start headbutting motherfuckers, then he'd be still...
They were beating the shit out of him.
You know what? That's just police, though. You know?
Well, they shouldn't do that.
Hey, listen, if Rambo was a black man, he'd be dead today. You ever think about that?
Yeah, sadly.
That's deep, man. All right. So Charles Napier, he's going to be our villain. Everybody recognizes him, right? He's like one of Austin Powers' bosses.
Oh, is that what he is? Oh, is he?
I mean, that's what I do from.
Is he the guy with the eye patch?
No. What? That's Robert Wagner.
Oh, okay.
No, he's a commander for like the British. I don't know. Anyway, he's just like a character actor. He's been around forever. But his biggest role probably is this Rambo movie where he's the top villain. He's also in Silence of the Lambs. Anyway, fucking he brings Rambo in and hires him to take photos of POWs in Southeast Asia. That's all he's supposed to do. I just want you to take photographs. What? What's your complaint?
It's a Logan complaint, but so they say POWs. Wouldn't it be POW?
Wow, this is like the old H's. What is the?
Well,
there's a Big Brother thing.
H's OH.
Heads
of household.
No. There's another. Whatever. It's too comp beastie. All right, so he goes to take the photographs, right? But he immediately finds some prisoners of war, of course. And instead of taking the photographs, he immediately goes in and tries to rescue them, where he runs afoul of Podolsky, a Soviet-era evil guy. I mean, he's just like Putin. I say Soviet era, but it's very right now. Very prescient.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he was all right. Anyway, Rambo, he goes tromping through the jungle. He sees a snake at one point. I noticed he's not scared of snakes anymore.
Well, that was rats, wasn't it?
Oh, you're right. He was scared of rats.
Yeah,
snakes is Indiana
snakes.
Jones. He's fine with them. I think this is Sylvester Stallone going, my character's cooler than Indiana Jones.
He called Harrison Ford a pussy in that moment.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think if you go back and look at the original screenplay, Sylvester Stallone has written in the margins, Harrison Ford's a pussy.
Yeah, I think so. It was a great moment, I thought. Very funny.
Yeah. And he's a great pacifist. He lets the snake live.
Yeah, very sweet guy.
Yeah. All right, so then he meets the the girl, and she's like attractive, so he falls in love with her immediately. And then he gets tortured by that Russian guy.
Yeah.
All right.
He says in this movie, by the way, that his knife brings him good luck. Okay? Just remember
Is it the same knife that has like stuff in the handle?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I do think so.
I don't think he ever opens the handle in this one.
I think he tries to, and that's when the snake appears. I think that he's like
Is that
about
true?
to look. I think so. I think he's like about to open it, and then the snake, he hears hissing, and he like turns around.
All right. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad he's still using that thing, getting used out of it. He looks mad ripped during the torture stuff. I think that's like I think the torture scene's only there so he could look awesome without his shirt on, writhing around.
You think so? There's like a part where he's like getting electrocuted. I think that's a part too. Like flex his muscles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And then he rips clear of the torture. It looked like he could have escaped the torture at any time. Like he just like let them torture him for a while.
You think so?
Yeah,
he liked it.
He breaks. I don't think he liked it, but when he breaks free, it just seems like it's no problem.
Yeah. Well, is this when he hits him with the microphone?
Yeah, he whacks the shit out of him, and then he gets on the microphone and delivers that line weird. I'm coming to get you.
What? I liked it. Why didn't you like it?
I don't know.
Because the guy's like, Rambo, don't worry, we're gonna come get you, and he's like, no, I'm coming to get you. I thought it was pretty good. I was like, oh, Rambo's really gonna go
listen.
get him.
Regardless of the line delivery, which I think is questionable, it's the greatest moment in the movie just for that close-up shot with the fucking thunder and lightning going in the background.
That was pretty cool.
It's badass.
I think nothing. This movie's really cool, but nothing is like as like artsy. I don't know if artsy is the word, but like as much of a choice as like the zooming in on the bars when he's like thinking about jail in the first movie.
Look, First
or
Blood.
Jail, like
First Blood had a point of view and something to say. Like I understand, like it's also a silly action movie, but it's nowhere near as silly as this movie. It's like First Blood's a real movie with like a story that wants to be told, whereas this movie is just like a fucking maniac ego. I mean, you can see why it would annoy the Raspberries. Like we can look back on it now. Like I wasn't alive at this time either, but like the amount of hubris in this movie coming off of Stallone is not a far cry from like shit we rip on today.
But this is not a bad movie.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. You can't look at what they do with the action and say this deserves worst movie.
You might have been snobby at the time, though. It's stupid, And like we weren't as into action back then. Action is far more respected at this point. It was like a gutter genre back then.
I just can't imagine being so stupid. It is crazy to think about. Like people thought that way at the time.
People think about Die Hard. Like Die Hard was such a turning point for like the big budget action franchise because at the time it felt like more of a thinking man's action movie because it's instead of having like a big burly weirdo like Stallone or Van Damme or Schwarzenegger, you had Bruce Willis, who was like sort of snarky and just like a day-to-day working man's cop and was going
Right.
through a divorce and stuff. Like, there's no ego attached to Die Hard whatsoever. Like, John McClane is like a character who's fallen on his face a lot. But think about that. Like, that movie's still 3 years away from this. Like, if anything, that movie was a reaction to movies like this, in the same way like Nirvana being popular was a reaction to shit like Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue.
Well, even more reason to love this movie. It gave us Die Hard.
I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. So he comes to get you, and he goes to grab the girl. He's going to take her back to America, but at the very last second, she gets all shot up.
I was so surprised, honestly. That was very fast. There are a lot of
How are you
turns in
going to
this
deal
movie.
with her for the rest of the movie?
I thought she was gonna live, and they were gonna go off together.
I love that her last words are she goes, Rambo. You won't forget me? And he goes, no. And then she dies. And I just love the idea of that. Like you live your whole life. You're a
it's
whole
so
person.
sad.
You're a whole person with
I
like
thought the same thing.
opinions and thoughts and like a family.
Every
and
second of every day you're thinking about things, and that's
exactly
what you realize.
every day you're you. You're just you for like 25 fucking years. And then in the last moment of your life, all you're thinking about is how you don't want this dude you met yesterday to forget you. That is
so
wild.
sad.
That is like a perversely sad thought.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's the worst part of the movie is like how they treat that character.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Rambo busts out his bow and arrow. He's blowing up cars. Does
It's
he have like
awesome.
explosives on these arrows?
Yes, it's freaking awesome.
It is pretty cool. At one point, he shoots a dude, and the dude explodes.
Yeah, it's so sick. When he covers himself in mud, I knew that was happening in one of these movies. I was still so excited when it did. Oh, it's so awesome.
That shot is baller. Like when you first
Yeah.
see him in the mud. Like, dudes in mud is a great visual. I don't understand why you don't use it more today.
Is
Like,
that a
why aren't
band
these?
title? Dudes in Mud? That has to be a
It can be.
band.
Like, superheroes should be covering themselves in mud. Like, people would pop for that, right? Like Chris Pratt in Jurassic World, covered in mud. Do that.
PETA
I feel
used
like
to do that
people-
in the Hunger Games, right?
I genuinely, yeah, that's right. I think people aren't creative anymore because you can do anything with like CGI. Like, it's like you can gather scope by just like inputting like a spaceship into your computer, and then like a spaceship's in your movie. Whereas
Right.
like back then, like you had to sort of like create things using practical stuff.
yeah, they're
So
like,
it's
here's
like,
mud.
so it's like,
Cover
here's
yourself in it."
something different. Here's Stallone covered in mud.
And you're like, fucking sick, dude.
And you
It's
pop
so
hard
awesome.
for it, man. Like, why can't they do that now? I don't get it. Cover actors in mud. It works. Schwarzenegger
agree
was
with
covered in mud just a couple years later in fucking Predator, and it rules.
I've never seen that either.
Oh,
need to
man, you
see
gotta
that.
see Predator. Yeah.
I've got to see Predator. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it's great. That's
Yeah,
all right.
it's
So
awesome.
So Rambo gets into a helicopter, right? He commandeers a helicopter. He throws that dude from the karate. Oh no, he's gone at this point. The Karate Kid guy. He throws some guy out of it, and then in maybe my favorite moment of the movie, the helicopter pilot, when it's down to just him and Rambo in the helicopter, and the helicopter pilot just jumps out of the helicopter, commits suicide. He commits suicide rather than having Rambo kill him. I love it. All right.
Yeah, good for him. Not a confirmed kill. I'm sure there's a count out there of all Rambo's kills. That one doesn't count, so good for that guy.
There is a count for the third movie, I know, because the Rambo 3 used to hold the Guinness Book of World Records record for the most violent movie ever made. It has the
Wow.
most acts of violence in any movie.
Meaning confirmed
Meaning-
kills?
Just like, bullet shot, punches thrown, explosions done, like that kind of
Okay,
shit.
interesting.
Yeah.
When was that made? After
It was made in 1988, and it held the record, Logan, until the fourth Rambo movie.
I was gonna say, was it after the fourth? Before or after the fourth one?
The fourth
think
Rambo movie, 20 years after Rambo 3, broke Rambo 3's record.
Yeah, I'm sure they. Well, on purpose. I'm sure they knew about it. and
Oh,
did that on
absolutely.
purpose.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Good for them.
All right. So Rambo, he starts driving the copter around. He shoots up basically every POW camp in Vietnam with this helicopter, all the while killing every Vietnamese person in the camp and managing to not kill any Americans. All the prisoners of war are great. They get out of there fine. We know that because we get some shots of them like walking out of some cages. And then Rambo, don't worry, he gets back to where they are. It looks like they're on like the Shield helicarrier, and he lands the copter, gets out. The dude from the Karate Kid is there. He's like, "Hey, Rambo, what's up?" He immediately just like kicks the shit out of him and keeps walking. All right, doesn't even stop to beat this guy up.
No.
All right, then he pulls his fucking AK-47 out or whatever it is, and he just starts shooting up the military facility. All right,
It's so funny you say that because it's not even. It's like way scarier than an AK-47, but that's just like the gun people say. That's so.
It's
funny.
just the only gun I know. Yeah,
I know,
AR-15 or whatever.
It's so funny.
All right. Oh, Alabama boy knows a lot about guns. Excuse
No, I just
me.
know that. I just know that the gun he had was like an insane gun, and that I know that I thought it was crazy though. He like carries that gun past Troutman, and Troutman doesn't even try to stop him or anything. He's just like, oh,
Everyone
this guy's
seems
gonna
fine
go
with
murder
it,
that
man.
guy.
Yeah, and that's fine. He shoots up the place, and then he goes in. He first of all, he should have killed Napier. He should have. I think Napier gets off light in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just threatens him with a large knife, and then says like, "Rescue all the other POWs." And we don't even know if he does that. I don't think Rambo's like checking
He doesn't come back in Rambo 4.
Napier.
Yeah, we don't
Nah.
get closure to this.
That actor's dead. I assume. Yeah. I mean, he was old.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is
Is Troutman dead?
yeah, he's dead too. I think the fourth movie I read is dedicated to him.
Okay, dedicated.
Nice.
Not really. I feel bad.
No, it was a good joke. So anyway, Stallone gets another closing monologue about America because he likes to deliver those at the end of these movies.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and then probably the greatest line of the movie. He goes, "How will you live, John? Day by day."
Hell yeah.
It reminds me of Scream 3. You know, what's your favorite scary movie, detective? My life.
Whenever you hear day by day, do you think of Michael Showalter saying day?
Yes, I
by
do.
Day?
Yeah,
every time.
Yes, 100% every single time.
I cannot help it. It's so good.
Day by day.
Day bidet.
Yeah, it's a great ending.
Yeah, a great ending for a very fine Rambo film. All right, what do you
Honestly,
What do you give
lots
it?
of twists and turns.
Yeah,
3 stars.
Agreed. 3 stars.
I was worried. It's not as good as the first one. I gave the first one a 3 also. That's a better movie. But I think the third one, I don't want to spoil it, but I think that one's worse, and I think this is a lot better than the third one.
I'm with you. I'm not a fan of that third movie. But boy, oh boy.
It's not bad though.
This second movie, this is exactly it. You know, like if you want like a real movie, watch that first fucking movie, First Blood. But like if you've never seen a Rambo movie before and you want to know like what the fuss is on Rambo, watch this one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So who's your
MVP?
Yeah. Who is it?
Well, I think it is Stallone.
Yeah.
But writing yourself kissing somebody is so weird to me. But I think you still have to go Stallone.
You can write yourself kissing someone. That's not a big deal. It's just weird to write yourself with like an incredibly beautiful woman like falling madly in love with her to the point where she's asking about you at her point of death a day later. That's weirder to me.
Right. And I mean, do people talk about how in Rocky he like kind of sexually assaults AJ?
I certainly do.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a great track record.
You know what's interesting actually about his 2 big roles, Rocky and Rambo, that I was thinking about during that movie is Rambo talks so little, right? Like he has like 8 lines in all these movies until the very end when he delivers a monologue, you know? Whereas Rocky never shuts the fuck up. You walk around with Rocky, and he just wants to talk to you about boxing and his stance and the history of boxing and the fish store you work at and the whores he likes. and so, like, I just think, like, Sylvester Stallone doesn't know how to create a character that talks a normal amount. And it's probably because he doesn't talk a normal amount.
Yeah, I guess I don't know his other roles as much as you do, probably, to know. Like, I feel like Over the Top, he's like, what? He's like trying to get the affection of his kid or something? That's probably
He's
a normal
normal
role.
in that movie. I'm talking about the ones he's writing. I don't believe he wrote Over the Top. He writes Cobra. He barely talks in that fucking movie.
Yeah. He writes to what he knows. Listen, I'm not gonna argue with it.
I feel like Sylvester Stallone's a guy who goes through his whole life never talking. Like, he has no interest in talking to anybody, but you get him around a hot lady, he won't shut the fuck up. And if you get him on a movie set, he won't shut the fuck up.
You think you don't like him as a person? You just don't like this guy?
Oh, I would 100% fucking hate Sylvester Stallone as a person. I think he's a shitty person, but, like, I love him. He's one of my favorite movie stars of all time.
Stallone or Mark Wahlberg? Who do you think you would like more?
Stallone's a better person than Mark Wahlberg. Easy.
What about Donnie Wahlberg? Is Donnie Wahlberg bad guy?
Donnie Wahlberg's a little bit evil by association for being part of the Wahlburger clan. But
Was he with Jenny McCarthy? That's weird.
Yeah. But so was Jim Carrey, and we like him.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. I do. But, like, yeah, Donnie. I think Donnie's better than Mark. But
yeah,
I don't give him a lot of space.
He's in those Saw movies. You know about that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
He's in the first one, isn't he?
Nope. He's in the third and fourth one.
Oh, well, I've seen the third. I've only ever seen Saw 1 and 3.
He's in like a couple of them, yeah.
Is Saw 2 good? Should I fill in that blank?
We're going to in October.
All right, I guess I'll save it.
Yeah,
look at you. You've been a host for like less than 2 months. You're already like planning the October show. I haven't had my say in October for years at this point.
Have you not? I mean, you guys.
No, it's always Henry.
I think you guys have like kind of fumbled October.
Henry's fumbled October, sir.
I think Saw should have been. It should have been how you did it. It should have been like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Saw, basically.
I think we should have followed those up with Hellraiser, or I mean, Saw's a good option, yeah. But like Henry likes supernatural horror way more than I do. I'm not a ghost guy. If I see a new movie is about like a supernatural force haunting somebody, I don't watch it. I never would have watched
The Conjurings, didn't you?
That's what I'm saying.
Halloween?
I never would have watched The Conjuring in the first place if not for Henry recommending it to me. And I ended up really liking those movies. But like, Conjuring would not have ever been my choice to cover on the show.
I don't think Saw is up there. Like, I would think you should have done like Child's Play before Saw. But I think that Saw, the reason you should do those for Halloween is because they did come out on Halloween. Like, those were Halloween releases every single year for like 8 years in a row.
I remember. It's just Henry and I don't have any affection for them. If it was up to me, the last 2 years we would have done Final Destination, and we still haven't.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not trying to talk shit about Henry. He's my best.
No, me either. Me either.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's the LVP? Did we say that?
Oh, maybe not.
You're the
girl
one with the woman.
She's fucking horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think so as much. I'm gonna go with that. There's like that other American that he saves first that he's like.
That blonde dude. Yeah, forget that guy.
Yeah, I'm going with that guy.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm not with you, but I it's a good choice. Anyway,
thank you.
Let's move on to Rocky. Excuse me, we're not doing Rocky. Rambo 3. How about that?
I wish we were like sponsored by somebody. We could play like an ad between the movies,
so you could pee.
That would be great. That would be a great excuse for me to pee. But no, that's not what I meant. But that would be cool.
You want to know a fun fact about the Rambo movies that I found out?
What?
The dude who created Rambo, who wrote like the novel that the first one's based on, wrote the movie novelizations of these two sequels.
like novels that came out after the movie?
Like, you know how they used to do this? I don't know if you were aware of this, but when I was a kid, this was big fucking business, Logan. Was any movie that was a hit or any movie that was like made for kids, they would hire some random novelist to make the screenplay a novel. So they can sell it. Like, when I was a kid, I read the novelization of the Val Kilmer movie, The Saint. Okay, I read the novelization of Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls. All right.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, like, usually it's just some random guy because like the novels are never going to be sold again after like the movie's not in theaters anymore. But in this case, they got the actual guy who wrote the original Rambo novel to novelize. So he had to like go through Stallone's stupid scripts that he made out of this guy's character. And like, all right, guess I'm writing this version. It's
Are
weird.
there pictures from the movie?
No,
What's the
it's
appeal
not
of this?
pictures. It's a novel.
Okay. All right.
The appeal,
Okay.
Logan, is that some people like to read novels.
I mean, is there any difference?
Well, oftentimes there were differences because they would have to plan them. The novelist needs ample time to write a novel. So they would often be working off of earlier drafts of screenplays, and they would have like scenes that didn't end up being in the movie.
What's the difference between a novel and a book?
What are you talking about?
What's the difference?
Novels are adult fiction stories. All right.
So an adult can't just say, I'm reading a book right now. What book are you reading? They have to say, I'm reading a novel.
No, they can say
that much of a difference.
No, they can say I'm reading a book, and then if someone's inquisitive and cares about books, they'd be like, "Oh, what book are you reading? Oh, it's a novel."
Also, it's just like a smart word to
It's
show
not
that
a
you read
smart word.
books.
It's just a fucking descriptor.
So it describes the type of book. So
yeah,
there is no
it's
difference.
like
between
going to
novel and
say
book.
I'm seeing like a mainstream comedy movie.
All right, so you're just specifying. Okay.
Yes.
So there's no. Okay. All right.
Logan,
I'm sorry, I asked.
Logan, you're smart and you're so fun to
Dan.
talk. You're my favorite person to talk to. But sometimes you say things, and I'm like, you are uneducated. You are not educated, Logan.
But sometimes I am saying things because I think it sounds stupid or funny.
But I don't know sometimes.
I know. I know. But I also
right.
didn't know the difference between novel and book.
I know. All right, so Rambo 3, it comes 3 years later. Obviously, we got to get this thing out. The last one was the biggest hit in the world. Okay?
Yep.
So they hire our new director, Russell Mulcahy, and Stallone gets working on the screenplay by himself. And then with actually, I think they did the same thing where like this fella Sheldon Lettich wrote like the initial draft, and then Stallone took over.
Yeah.
So Sheldon Lettich, I guess we can talk about. He's pals with Van Damme. He like helped discover Van Damme. That's kind of what he's known for. And he like knew the dude that Bloodsport was based on.
Oh, so not Rob Van Dam.
No, not Rob Van Damme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jean-Claude. But like he also knew this dude Frank Dukes, who was like the liar that they based Bloodsport off of. And so that's what Sheldon Lettich is really known for, is writing Bloodsport and Lionheart and Double Impact. He worked with fucking Van Damme a lot.
Okay.
All right. And our new director is a fellow named Russell Mulcahy, who directed Highlander, and who actually just talked about last week because you asked me who directed the non-Paul W.S. Resident Evil movies. And Mulcahy directed Resident Evil Extinction, the third one. Of course, then Mulcahy, a few weeks into shooting, about 3 weeks, I read. I heard like a lot of different conflicting things. But about 3 weeks into shooting, apparently Stallone fires Russell Mulcahy and the director of photography. All right. And
why both of them?
I heard so many different stories, but probably my favorite, which came directly from Stallone, was I imagine there were a lot of just creative differences, but my favorite creative difference that I read about was that Stallone, Mulcahy went ahead of time to like Afghanistan or whatever the fuck they were shooting to start scouting and shit, and Stallone asked him to like hire all of the henchmen for like the bad guys,
Yeah.
and when Stallone got to set, he said they were too pretty. He said, I was asking him to hire guys who could beat up Rambo, but he was hiring pretty boys. And so he, quote, fired him and his chiffon army.
Wow, including the DP?
Yeah, including the DP. Apparently, Stallone fired 3 different DPs on the set of Rocky III. His ego at this point was out of control.
Through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
All right. He also has a budget of $63 million for this movie, which at the time was the most expensive movie ever made.
Holy shit.
And yeah, and on top of his salary for screenwriting and acting, he asked the studio to buy for him a $12 million jetliner that he could fly himself, and they did.
Wow. Then is that included in the budget?
It might be. Yeah.
Wow. Holy.
All right. So $63 million budget. They ended up replacing Russell Mulcahy. So our new director after that is a fella by the name of Peter MacDonald. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter MacDonald, he's just like a working man. He was a second unit director in like the 80s. He did a little DP work. He was actually a second unit action director on Rambo II, which is how he got this gig. After this, he goes on to have a directing career for a little while, but then he goes back down to second unit. And I think he's retired these days, but he was doing in the 2000s just a lot of camera operator work. He worked on some of the X-Men movies, I think.
All right.
But
I didn't know him.
But yeah, as a director, after Rambo 3, he goes on to make Mo Money with Damon Wayans, which I think is a good movie and actually looks really good. So I got to give him some credit for that. But it kind of goes into the tubes after that. He does, a Van Damme movie or two. He did the Super Dave movie, but that's it.
All right.
So anyway, it makes $189 million at the box office, which is over $100 million less than the previous movie.
Yeah.
So it has to be considered a disappointment. It only comes in at number 16 at the box office for 1988, between Beaches and Oliver and Company, the terrible Disney movie with Billy Joel songs.
Oh.
I will say that something that was interesting was I was looking at 1988's box office, like just the list, and it's not totally Stallone's fault. Like, it might be partly Stallone's fault that we were sick of action in 1988, but I just noticed a complete lack of action movies on that list. Like, Rambo 3 at number 16 is the second highest grossing action movie of 1988 after Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like the movies that did well that year, like the out of the box hits from 1988 are all comedies, with the exception of Rain Man, which would like won Best Picture.
Big is this year, right? It's got to be up there.
Yeah, Big is another one that was like in the top 5. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is up there. Yeah. Incredible.
All right.
Crocodile Dundee, 3 Men and a Baby. Like, that's what people wanted to fucking see. Beetlejuice.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we are. This movie was not nominated for any Oscars, but the Razzies did recognize it again. It only won a single Razzie for Worst Actor for Sylvester. But it was nominated for Worst Picture. It lost to Cocktail with Tom Cruise, which I can confirm to you right now, is a better movie than Rambo 3.
But this isn't the worst movie of the year, right?
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, they just always give it to like huge movies. Cocktail was one of the 10 highest grossing movies of the year, so they gave it to Cocktail. Whereas like the other nominees I noticed were like Hot to Trot, which is a talking horse movie with Bobcat Goldthwait. Like I've seen that. That's a piece of shit, man. So like, I mean, that's the worst movie of the year.
Right. So
They're just giving it
popularity
to
has to go
Cocktail.
into it.
Yeah, they're just giving it to Cocktail so they can say they gave it to the big Tom Cruise movie.
All right, that's fair. But that's better than this.
Cocktail?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Check it out, bro.
Okay.
It's fun, man. He's making some great cocktails.
What do you think about Tom Cruise as Rambo? You think you could have done it?
No, he's too tiny.
He is very tiny, yeah. I'm not sure. This isn't for him.
Cruise can do spies. Like Cruise can only play action heroes that get by on like ingenuity and wits, you know? He can't really do a Rambo.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. And he's more like slight and like speedy. This is more just like aggressive.
Yeah, he's running. He's running. You got to see him running around. He's never hiding.
Yeah, and like through a jungle, you don't really get the full speed. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he works as well.
Yeah, Cruise is always like a normal guy who ends up in a situation like this too when he's not a spy, you know? Like in War of the Worlds, he's like a construction worker.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
In Minority Report, he's like just a government employee or whatever. Like you know, I don't think he can get away with a Green Beret.
Yeah. What's his best role? What's Cruise's best role? Because I have an answer.
Magnolia.
Oh, I think it's Collateral. He is so cool in Collateral.
He is cool in Collateral. I think that's
awesome.
an acceptable answer for that.
Yeah, what a great movie.
Yeah. All right. So Richard Crenna, sadly, was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor for this one. And he lost to Dan Aykroyd for Caddyshack 2.
Yeah, never seen it.
All right. Peter McDonald was nominated for Worst Director of the Year, and he lost in a tie. Blake Edwards for Sunset, and obviously they're just not, nominating him because he's the great Blake Edwards who directed a piece of shit that year. And Stuart Raffle for Mac and Me, the McDonald's movie. have you ever seen that?
The Alien movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, not enough to know, but I have an older sister that watched. I've definitely seen that. But they just couldn't pick between those two, so they gave it a tie.
Yeah, who's worse? I don't know. It was a tie. So
I go Mac and Me.
Yeah, me too. I'm telling you, they just want to give it to Blake Edwards because it'll make, it sounds interesting. Like someone reading about the Razzie. Ooh, Blake Edwards won Worst Director. Wow.
Right.
So it also lost Worst Screenplay to Cocktail.
Yeah. All right.
Screenplay. All right. I guess let's get into it, huh? So
yeah,
the beginning of this movie is probably my favorite part of any Rambo movie.
Really? Oh, the fighting.
Yeah, this is where they find him. So in the last movie, they told him that he might get a presidential pardon if he does the mission.
Oh yeah, I guess he never did. Oh yeah, he does.
No, he does. He must. Yeah, he's definitely free. So after the events of Rambo 2, where by the way he shoots up an entire military facility and threatens his general with a knife.
In Rambo, in First Blood, he's the good guy. The second one, he's actually bad. That's when you don't pardon him anymore. When you say this guy is a threat.
Well, I mean, everyone's bad in the second one. Like Napier's bad. That Russian guy in Vietnam's bad. Like the only good person in the movie is probably that girl who gets shot.
Troutman's a good guy, I think.
He means well.
Yeah.
But he's such a company man. He's so militaristic.
Right. Oh, yeah. We should have seen prequel of Troutman. I'd like to see that.
That wouldn't be bad, to be honest. If you want to reboot this franchise. Yeah, dude, like young Rambo. It should be fucking Troutman, like, commanding a group of Green Berets in the Vietnam War on some crazy, mission.
What do you think about Hanks as young Crenna?
Let Hanks be in classy movies. Let him be in classy movies. He's too old. He's like as old as Richard Crenna was.
No, he's. And I mean old at this time, like in the 90s. If he had done it in the 90s,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like if like after Philadelphia, Tom Hanks starred in Rambo the prequel,
Instead of Saving Private Ryan, he made young Troutman.
Saving Private Rambo.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't think he's just private.
It's not bad, man. Saving Private Rambo would be a good movie.
Yeah, I'm into it.
All right. So he's in Thailand now. He's been pardoned by the president, Ronald Reagan. And he also got a Medal of Honor. Remember at the end of the last movie, Troutman's like, "You're going to get another Medal of Honor for this." He's already got. They list his credentials in the last movie, by the way, and they say he has 2 Medal of Honors and 4 Purple Hearts.
Jesus Christ!
How is he? He should be famous.
Yeah, he should never have to step foot on another battlefield ever again.
Like Brian Dennehy should have been like, "Oh, you're that guy."
Yeah. I liked at the end of the last movie, by the way, they're like, "You're going to get another Medal of Honor." And he's like, "I don't want it. All I want is for my country to love me as much as we love our country." That's like a part of his speech in the last one. That was
fucking
pretty
deep, bro.
Yeah.
Deep. Yeah, it's a little bit of a Republican sentiment, but what are you going to do? James Cameron, I read, said that the action in that movie is mine. The politics are Stallone's.
In the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take credit for the action.
Yeah. All right. So Rambo with his presidential pardons in Thailand, and he's sort of doing fighting. He's like fighting a guy with sticks in a tournament. It's sort of like Bloodsport. He's basically the writer of Bloodsport was assigned to write a Rambo movie and was like, what if he's competing in Bloodsport?
That's already out at this point, Bloodsport?
It came out the same year. I mean, I assume he was hired on the strength of Bloodsport. And now he's just like, I've got a genius pitch. What if Rambo was in the Kumite?
I was into it. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's fighting with sticks and he wins. And then he goes off into a wooden motorboat and sails off with some fellas. And Troutman catches up to him. He's like, "Hey, Rambo, got some stuff needs doing in Afghanistan. How do you feel about that?" And Rambo's like, "I don't know. I'm here in Thailand. I'm getting by. I'm doing well. I'm doing odd jobs. I'm having fun competing in the Kumite every so often."
This one is tougher because in the second one he has to because he's in prison. This one they have to convince him, so it takes a little longer.
Yeah, it takes a little longer. And basically the plot is Soviet Russia has been invading Afghanistan, all right?
Yeah, our friends.
All right, and that's unusual. We're not used to Russia invading other countries.
No.
All right, so Stallone loves Afghanistan because they're our allies. So he decides that he's going to go in and fight with the Mujahideen against the invading Russian forces. I don't really understand this. Why is this the plot of this movie? Is Troutman working for the government? Like, does the government want Rambo to go into Afghanistan? Or is this just like is Troutman like, is he a big fan of Afghanistan? Is he a family there?
I don't know how like military works. I just
obligations. I couldn't tell if this was a personal mission or a military mission.
From Troutman's perspective?
Yes.
Yeah. I would think, I mean, it seemed like he was willingly going there. It didn't seem like he was being forced to. But why would he do that? Yeah, we don't get any reasoning why he would do that. I would assume that they're being forced to go. That he is anyway.
But why? Why did they keep saying like, obviously you're going to go, Rambo, you're a caring person and you should care about the Afghani people. But I don't understand why.
Are they not our friends at this point?
I mean, they are, but like Rambo's not even living in America. Like America's a country that's like tried to kill him multiple times at this point. He's living in Thailand.
Yeah, but what color is his blood? It's red for America. That's what he bleeds. You think he's going to turn his back when we need him the most?
But I don't
think
think
so.
we need him. Afghanistan needs him. I understand there are allies, but we have so many allies. Why is this important? I don't understand. I just don't understand how this one man, Rambo, is going to change anything in the country of Afghanistan.
What do you mean? How is he going to change anything? He's Rambo.
Afghanistan is being invaded by Russia. That's one of the biggest countries in the world, invading another country with military forces. It is too much for me to believe that one man
He
take
tells
out
him
the entire Russian military.
No, he tells him the story of like there was an artist, a sculptor. He was like making a statue, and he said the statue was always there. He just had to chip away at the pieces, and that's what you are, Rambo. You're a soldier. That's what he is. This is what he does. He has it within him.
I don't believe it.
Well, you have to get on board because that's what this is.
I was never on board. The whole time he was in Afghanistan, I never understood why he was there.
That didn't bother me. He's Rambo. This is what he does. That's what I'm thinking. Have you seen 4 and 5? Are you anti those?
I've never seen him.
Okay, good. Okay,
This was my last Rambo movie that I had already seen.
good.
I forgot to bring up Kurtwood Smith. He's hanging out with Troutman in this movie.
Yeah, completely wasted.
I know. He's so good, too. This is like after RoboCop. How do you not know? They should just shit-can Troutman and have Kurtwood Smith be Troutman in this movie.
Yeah, maybe, honestly.
You don't need two of them. And frankly, I don't buy that the Richard Crenna character is essential to these movies. He doesn't need to be in all fucking three of them.
Yeah, he's getting pretty old, too.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even... in the second one, I understand, like, he's their connection to him. You know, the military wants to use Rambo, so they, like, weaponize his friendship with Troutman. That makes sense. But if you're going to have Kurtwood Smith in this movie, I guess they're doing the same thing, but it just doesn't really play.
Or don't even show Troutman until later. Just to say, like, the Kurtwood Smith character shows up, says Troutman is being captured.
Right. Yeah, just say he's been kidnapped. Yeah.
And then have it like as Kurtwood and Rambo on an adventure together, and then later Troutman shows up, like at the end.
Yeah. You know, back then, they really used to think about people that were seeing this for the first time and hadn't seen previous movies. They don't give a shit anymore, Hollywood. Like, you're expected to have watched all of them.
Right. Well, especially like how they treat Marvel. That changed everything. When Infinity War came out, they're like, yeah, we expect you to have seen 19 other movies or whatever.
Do you know that I took a girl to see Endgame, and it was her first Marvel movie?
Jesus Christ. Was she like asking questions the whole movie?
No, I told her she can't.
Good for you. What'd she think about it at the end?
She had fun, but like,
Yeah.
she was just there for me.
Yeah, sure. And you're seeing like all these famous people. You don't really care about who the characters are. And
Yeah,
really
it's such a
doesn't matter.
spectacle that like I feel like you can enjoy it on any. I imagine she got bored. It's so long.
Yeah, that's funny though.
Yeah. All right. So Rambo enters Afghanistan, meets that dude Masood, and then right, that's the name of the dude.
I don't know.
I don't remember, but he meets like one dude and one kid.
I thought he was
they're
pretty
like the
cool,
only
the
ones
guy.
that like him. Yeah, the guy was cool. The kid was annoying.
Yeah.
Why was there a kid in Rambo 3?
Yeah, exactly.
Kill this kid. It should have been like it should have been like the woman in the last movie. Just fucking kill this kid. Shoot him in the head 20 minutes in and have him go like, Rambo, you'll remember me, right?
It was sad. It's like he's an orphan. That's a bummer.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah. This movie.
I don't care about movie orphans. Like, orphans are sad in real life. They're always playing this commercial during Rangers games that's like, it's this little girl, and she's like, my name is Nini, and I'm 8 years old, and I'm looking for a family. And I'm always like, God damn it. I want to like write in and just like adopt this Nini girl.
You don't like
for a family for years.
You don't like Angels in the Outfield? I think that's about a bunch of orphans.
It's not about orphans.
That's not about orphans?
No,
That's not an
JGL
orphanage?
I believe JGL has a mom in that movie that he's like trying to set up with like Tony Danza.
Oh, I thought they lived in an orphanage, and he was like wanted to get adopted, and then Danny Glover adopts him at the end.
I mean, maybe I don't remember it exactly. We can cover that at some point.
Oh, is there a sequel? I didn't know that.
Well, there's an original, like it's a remake, and then they made 2 sequels in the 90s. There was they were straight to video, I think. One was called Angels in the End Zone. It was a football movie.
Oh, I have heard.
And then they made one Angels in the Infield, which was just baseball again.
Okay,
They needed to come up with more sports. I like Air Bud because they did all the sports. All right, let's go through the list. 7th inning fetch, World Pup,
wide receiver, right?
Golden
receiver. Wide receiver was boring.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many others. I can't even come up with them. I feel like there's a volleyball one.
There's like puppies they introduce.
Well, yeah, Air Buddies. I think that's
Air Buddies, and then they do Santa Paws. They spin off.
Yeah, that was always a step too far for me. But the ones that were just sports movies,
yeah, they're great
with puns. That's what you want. That's what you want, ladies and gents.
Is there a bowling one?
World Pup, 7th inning fetch. The volleyball one is Air Bud Spikes Back.
I don't like that one.
That's good.
No, it's not. Spike is just like a generic dog name. That's so stupid.
Bitch, Spike's back. It's like...
That is so dumb.
No! Spike is like a thing you do in volleyball. You spike it over the net.
But why? How is that a dog thing then?
Well, it's like Air Bud Strikes Back. Air Bud Spikes Back. It's a sequel to an Air Bud movie with volleyball. Air Bud,
but they're supposed to have dog puns. It's golden receiver, like golden retriever.
I understand. Funny. It's a little bit of a different,
it doesn't work.
Sort of.
It doesn't not as good.
I think it still works. And it's still good.
I don't like it. I really don't.
How dare you? All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, then the Air Bud started like talking. I don't like that.
Yeah, I dipped out.
Yeah, he dipped out.
Yeah,
I mean, I dipped out pretty fast. I think I only saw the first one, actually.
Yeah, I think me too, actually. But I mean, no, I've definitely seen like parts of the other ones.
Oh, yeah, fun. And then there was that one, the hockey one, remember, with a monkey. MVP, most valuable primate.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. All right. So he's in Afghanistan. He's not playing sports.
They do kind of at one point. On horses,
what
right?
They play? Oh,
I don't know. I didn't really get it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole movie. I can't even take this movie seriously anymore because Hot Shots Part 2 is just Part 2. Excuse me. Yeah. Is just a parody of this movie, like directly, and they do like every part of it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
This movie's a bummer. They like talk about women being like raped and killed, and they burn the pregnant women's babies.
Yeah, it's like Stallone's trying to make some sort of a point, like political point about Afghanistan. He really cares about Afghanistan, this movie, and it's just like maybe if I like paid attention to the news in 1988, I might have cared about this a little bit more. But I mean, it's years later. We now know that like. The Mujahideen helped supply the Taliban with weapons that like they used to happen to do 9/11.
Oh, I didn't tell you. The lady from the first one, her name was Ko. I forgot the actress's name, but she was born on 9/11 of whatever year she was born.
That's really funny because earlier in this episode, I was looking up somebody and they were born 9/11 and I didn't even mention it.
Yeah,
I think it might have been John Hawkes. I think John Hawkes was born.
Holy
9/11.
cow! All right, well, John Hawkes and that maybe the same year. No, I doubt it.
Probably not.
Maybe she's young.
Yeah, good point. And he's pretty old.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we talking about? Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of stuff like that, and there's tons of action. They really leave it all out on the.
It's cool.
Screen.
It's pretty cool.
No, but it's only cool because it's so expensive. They had all this money, $63 million in 1988 dollars. So it's like real helicopters and real explosions and just like entire armies of people in deserts. Like, so the movie has huge scope. Like, sometimes you're watching it and it's fucking impressive. Like, you're really watching a production. But I mean, it just never comes together. The movie never makes sense. I never care about what's happening. I don't like the mission. I never believe that Troutman's in trouble. It's just, I don't know. And I remember it from when I was a kid, so I'm just waiting for like that shitty monologue about Afghanistan at the end of the movie.
You remember in the last movie when I brought up that he says his knife is good luck?
Yeah.
Well, in this movie, his freaking necklace is good luck. So he has 2 items that give him good luck. That doesn't seem fair. I feel like some characters don't even have one.
Also, I mean, well, maybe he had to get a different good luck charm, being that like the last time he was carrying his knife, the love of his life got murdered.
But he lived. Maybe without the knife, he'd be dead.
Good point. And he'd be saddled with that lady today. Now he could hang out in Thailand. You know, there's a lot going on. It's Lady Boy City. He could get whoever he wants.
What do you think? The coolest part of this movie was
sorry, I know Thailand's more than Lady Boys. I mean, I apologize for that.
Yeah, it was just a joke, everybody.
Yeah.
I loved the glow sticks. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the part where he... I thought that was interesting. The one moment where he puts it on the side of an arrow and then shoots a guy with it, and then the other people see the blue and start lighting him up with their own bullets. That's a fun moment.
Yeah, that was good. I also like that moment where he like cauterizes a wound by setting it on fire.
That was insane. Yeah.
Yeah, we uses like gunpowder. Like, there's a couple of cool moments in this movie, but like I think on a whole, like of the first 3 Rambo movies, this is like by far the worst.
Yeah, definitely the worst, but it's still pretty cool. I like okay, so it gets like to the end or whatever. He saves Troutman kind of. They go down a hole, and then it shows Rambo they like fight all the bad guys. It shows Rambo climbing the rope back up to the top. But how did Troutman get to the top? Because Troutman is not climbing that rope to get back out of there. I don't know how he got out.
I believe that Stallone wants you to believe that Rambo just like carried him in one hand.
Well, we see him leaving. There's no Troutman there. But then when he gets up, Troutman's just hanging out. So I have questions about that.
No problem. Listen, this movie was not prepared to answer your questions and had no interest in doing so.
Yeah, that's okay. And then they get to the top, and there's like a guy that he fights, and he pulls the pin and kicks him down the hole, and he explodes like halfway down the hole. And that's cool too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so what do you give this movie?
2 stars.
Yeah, me too. Who's your MVP?
Stallone.
I was actually gonna go with that Afghanistan dude.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's like charming and likable. He's like fun running around.
Here, the actor's name is Sasson Gabay. All right.
Okay.
And he's an Iraqi actor. Still working today.
Good. Yeah, he deserves it. I thought he was very funny. But listen, Stallone's just so cool.
Hell yeah. Oh, he's in that fucking We Crashed with Jared Leto.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a woman in that, right? Who is that? There's somebody else?
In the Jared Leto thing?
Yeah, who else is in that?
Oh, it's Anne Hathaway. They only cast the worst assholes.
Oh, you don't like Anne Hathaway?
Well, only because that one time she was an asshole to me in person, and I helped her at Barnes and Noble, and she would whisper to her assistant and have him talk to me.
Holy
she wouldn't
cow.
say she wouldn't interact with me herself.
Yeah, that's okay. I no longer like Anne Hathaway. That's not cool at all.
Yeah.
Okay, LVP.
The kid.
Yeah, easy. There's a kid in the movie. He sucks as the kid.
Yeah. All right.
Honestly,
so
you could go. I thought about Kurtwood Smith, not because he's bad, just because he's completely wasted.
Yeah, he's wasted, but he's still. You can't say he's the least valuable. Like, even Kurtwood Smith wasted, but he's adding more value than people that are on the screen the whole movie.